Remember your initial reaction when you saw your infant for the first time? Maybe you cried happy tears. How lovely. However, this woman behaved differently in this story. She left her son behind after learning that he had a problem. You won't believe, though, who ended up adopting this child. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Rita had been ready for this, the time of labor and delivery. It was finally time to greet her baby after 9 months of strange cravings, morning sickness, and restless nights. She promised herself that she would interpret the agony as an intriguing experience and a sign of love while she lay on the operating table, gripping the ends of her burning robe. Therefore, even though she felt like she could no longer continue, she pushed when the doctor ordered her to. She refused to give up. She waited for the lovely baby's screams that would make all of her suffering worthwhile, keeping her ears to the ground and closing her eyes more and more tightly. After 10 minutes or so, the young boy's wailing filled the air. "I did it," Rita said, her breath muted, tired. Then, in order to make skin-to-skin contact, she opened her arms wide as the physicians approached her holding the infant. However, what ought to have been the most romantic occasion of all became a nightmare. Rita winced as she saw her infant. He had almond-shaped eyes that sloped up, short ears, and a flattened face, all signs of Down syndrome. The horrified woman felt a shiver go down her spine. She was to give the baby a hug and swear to love him forever at this point. However, the woman saw that she was moving away from him. The happiness she was experiencing vanished, to be replaced by remorse and terror. This was not the moment she had imagined. At that moment, she made a statement that completely stunned the physicians and nurses. "That isn't my child. My child shouldn't have such appearance," she shouted. "My baby should be healthy." She talked softly at first, and then she screamed. In a matter of seconds, her sobs were so loud that they drowned out the small boy's presence and screams. The physicians believed they had witnessed everything, but then an even more tragic event occurred. One of the nurses went to notify Dan, the boy's father, that he was welcome to come into the room and look at the infant when he arrived. A tall man with hazel eyes showed up at the door in a matter of minutes, his smile radiating joy. But his attitude changed when he met the youngster. He was in the doldrums right away. His bright smile turned into a patronizing and mean one as he approached the youngster more and more, his face darkening with rage. After what seemed like an eternity, he was finally in front of his wife. He leaned forward and said, "Is that the child?" She interrupted because the nurse who was holding the kid was growing impatient. "Indeed, you have a lovely son. He appears healthy, except from having Down syndrome." The man lost his temper the moment the nurse said those words. "It's all your fault," he yelled, hitting the bed and pointing his finger at his wife's face. "That isn't my kid." Then he hissed, a long, annoying hiss. The man hurried out of the labor room, passing the young child without even giving him a second glance. Rita realized she had to choose between her husband and her child as Dan left the room. She had to decide on the former. She assured herself that she wasn't insane and that, in fact, she wasn't a bad mother. She realized she couldn't provide him with the necessary financial, emotional, and mental support. So how could she accept a boy? Rita was fully aware of her obligations. Thus, in her hour of need, she devised a heartless scheme. She then requested some alone time with her child from the physicians. She had no idea how much she would regret this particular moment. Dan, on the other hand, was intoxicated in a tavern near the couple's home. He got drunk after 3 drinks and began to talk incoherently about leaving his child behind. Because he was intoxicated, nobody took his statements seriously. An hour or so later, Dan, still in the bar and intoxicated, took a phone call. He tried to move after hearing his wife's words, but agony pounded him and caused his breath to come in sharp gasps. His heart thumping in his chest, he hurried home when he had mustered the strength to stand up. His wife was in the living room when he got home. However, she was not at all what he had anticipated. He expected to see a mom lamenting her deceased kid and screaming uncontrollably when he got home. Rather, his wife wore a beautiful gown and minimal makeup. At that moment, she repeated what she had stated over the phone. "Our child has passed away. Our infant did not survive. A few minutes after you departed, he died." The spouse looked at her indifferently, neither pleased nor sad. They both felt liberated, even if they didn't express it to one another. Dan drew Rita to him at that moment. "It's all right. We can have another baby, but this time it will be healthy," he stated. She remembered all she had done in the hospital earlier, including placing the small child in a box and telling him that she had no choice but to give him up, not turning around even when she heard him crying, and the time she had simply whispered, "I'm sorry." "You'll be all right," she said, as she ran away in the hopes of evading detection. At the same moment, a nurse at the hospital found the infant in the box and screamed loudly. To get the right treatment, the boy, who was a bit underweight, was brought to the NICU. From this point on, incredible things started to happen. Several parents visited their children in the NICU and lavished them with affectionate words and kisses. Unfortunately, the youngster was alone himself. He sobbed day and night, as though he could sense that he had been abandoned. Soon after, the boy's tale was shared with a couple who frequently visited the hospital. They fell madly in love with him the moment they lay eyes on him. This couple had a lot of money. Through inheritance from their respective parents, they had enormous wealth. They occupied influential places in the city as well. The couple quickly brought the young child home after making the required adoption preparations within a few weeks. This adoption tale of the young kid quickly gained widespread attention. Newspapers covered the news, and the city's various TV networks carried it as well. Many were relieved that the kid was given another opportunity and that the pair chose to see past his illness, something his original parents had not done. After a few days, Rita entered the living room and switched on the television. The announcement of her son's adoption was made at that very moment. She instantly recognized him and passed out from astonishment. She awoke to see her hubby at her side. "What's the matter? Are you all right?" he inquired. Rita was aware that her game was up. Lying and acting as though nothing was wrong was pointless. She sobbed and tells her husband all that she has done. He stared at her like she was a malevolent beast and flung her out of his arms as soon as she finished. "My spouse would never act in such a manner. What would you do to me if you could leave our child?" He declared, "I'm done with you." He left the house after gathering a few items. The fact that he was the first to reject his son was something he completely forgot, or maybe decided to overlook. Rita fell into a deep despair when her spouse departed. She quickly developed a strong desire for her son. It tormented her. Even with her eyes wide open, she could still see him in her dreams, and it seemed very real. She contacted the couple 6 months later and informed them that she had something important to share with them. Before they eventually invited her to their home, another 6 months passed. Rita was shocked to see how vibrant her kid was when she arrived. He seemed very content and attractive. "Baby, I'm so sorry," she said. "I'm back for you," and rushed in the direction of the infant. She was going to give him a hug when the pair interrupted and demanded an explanation. Telling them everything, Rita went on her knees. Infuriated, the couple demanded that the lady leave and never come back as she wasn't deserving of the kid. Rita never saw her son again after that. The kid was still showered with love and attention by the couple. They made him their heir when he grew up. We should learn to love and accept our children for who they are, regardless of their appearance. Because someone else will if you don't. How do you feel about this narrative? Please share your opinions with me in the comments area. Thank you. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.